Today, cyber is a weapon system in two dimensions.
Once again, Shalom from Jerusalem. With us today, we have General Yaakov Amidror. Shalom, General. What a great honor having you with us.
It's very nice to be here and to speak in Jerusalem about the issues of the Middle East and cyber. It's a great honor.
As a general in the Israeli army, there's no doubt that the war has changed. When we think in biblical times, Joshua entering into the land and fighting face to face against the enemy. Today, not only that the war has changed, the enemy is not so defined. Can you elaborate on that?
Yes, I think that there are few new phenomena in the battlefield, but at the end of the day, the difference is that because of the cyber, you can focus on a target. You don't have any military connection to the target, and still, from far away, you can reach the target and destroy it. Mm-hmm. Someone will enter to the electricity system of New York, and one day will shut it down from far away. No one will have a clue idea who did it. Israel was one of the first countries in the world which established a separate, independent agency to deal only with cyber defense. That is giving us today
a huge advantage.
Yes, a huge advantage. But at the same time, we have to remember that Israel, as a modern state, is very vulnerable to cyber attacks from the outside.
So cyber is two-way. It's one side you attack, and the other side you have to defend yourself 24/7.
And ironically, the more you are modern, the more you are vulnerable to the other side cyber attack.
There's no doubt, General, that our neighborhood has changed.
Yeah.
Once the enemy was clear, we had Egypt in the south, Syria in the north, but today, let's be honest, we have Iran, Turkey. I wouldn't say Turkey is an enemy, but we have to always follow up what they do, what they don't do. Can you elaborate on the region when it comes to intelligence and cyber and all that?
If you look at the Middle East of today, the strongest countries are not the Arab countries. It's Iran on one side and Turkey on the other side, and Israel in the middle. The Arab
Which
world,
brings us to a new era.
Yes, the Arab world is facing huge problems. The main change in the Middle East, after all, is the aggressiveness of Iran. Iran became, in the last 30 years, the most aggressive country in the Middle East. Mm-hmm. They built a corridor going from Iran through Iraq into Syria and Lebanon. They built Hezbollah in Lebanon, and now Hezbollah has 100,000 rockets and missiles. They are much involved in Yemen, helping the Houthis to fight the Saudis. In the past, they used Sudan as a bridge to move weapon systems from Iran into Egypt to Gaza and to Hezbollah. So you see Iran all over the Middle East. They are financing Hamas, they are helping Hamas to build its capabilities. Islamic Jihad is an organization which was built by the Iranians. And for Israel, as a little country, at the end of the day, we have an asymmetry which cannot be balanced. Mm-hmm. We are very little demographically, we are very little territorially. We will forever be in asymmetry. And one of the ways to bridge this asymmetry and to balance it is by having some advantage in areas in which territories and demography are not so important. Mm-hmm. Cyber is one of them, in which it doesn't matter how many people you have.
We hear, and I would say carefully, on foreign news, that Israel attacks here and there, and sometimes the attacks are very far away from us.
Israel is very clear about its policy. We will not allow the Iranians to build an independent war machine in Syria. This corridor is the way of the Iranians to lead the weapon systems from Iran through Iraq into Syria and then into Lebanon. Wherever we can identify it and we can stop it, we are doing it. Today, cyber is a weapon system in two dimensions. One, it is source of intelligence. I think that it will not be exaggerations to evaluate that today the majority of the intelligence is either from cyber or from satellites. And the second issue, which cyber is very important in, it gives you the ability to act directly against your enemy inside his own system without being identified by your enemy.
That's huge.
Very few smart people are making the difference.
Cyber and the God of Israel.
Yes, this is always in the picture, you know,
Amen.
for
General Yaakov Amidror, what a great, great pleasure to sit with you here on the set. Thank you very much.
very good place.
It was a great honor. I hope you understand how complicated this whole issue is, and I want to encourage you to continue to pray for the peace of Jerusalem. Thank you. Thank you for joining us as we provide a spiritual insight of what God is doing in Israel and in the Middle East. If you want to learn more about what God is doing in Israel, make sure to visit us on our webpage and follow us on social media. Shalom, and God bless you from Jerusalem.